I'm Ascend Hyperion, and this is Let's Argue. Before I start and get too deep into it, you guys have probably noticed the Fallout poster I keep in the back here, which is kind of weird for a Halo channel to be narrating with a Fallout poster in the background. So I got to thinking what would be cool in that spot, and I think I want to do a sticker poster using stickers selected by you guys. I have linked my Ko-fi in the description below and probably in the pinned comment. If you want to throw out $5, $10, whatever it takes, go find a sticker you like, donate the money, and I'll take it and I'll use it to get a sticker for the sticker poster. It'll probably be about the same size as that one, which I think is a 24 by 48 or something like that, or 24 by 36. It's kind of a bigger poster. We'll fill up the whole thing. Go on there, Redbubble or Amazon or wherever you find it, Etsy, check the price, check the shipping, send it over on Ko-fi or whatever it takes, and I will put it towards the sticker for the wall. So that should be pretty cool. Do you know the name of the game here on Let's Argue? I take your hot Halo takes, your normal opinions, and your crazy ideas and tell you if I agree or disagree and why. I'm usually joined by a different beer. This is the first repeat beer so far. This is another Hoegaarden, like episode 4. This is pretty good. I had this in my fridge. I went and bought more, actually, after that video. So whoever suggested this to me, you are an absolute MVP, because these are good and I like them. But yeah, I also never promised you guys a new beer every week. I promised you a beer, not a new one. So let's go ahead and get this started. Tyler Bartlemus says, Halo 5 Warzone is a better 12v12 mode than Halo Infinite's BTB. Oh, I agree. I agree. And I forget in what video I mentioned this, but I basically said, in lieu of something like Invasion or Warzone or whatever it is large player count BTB good enough? Is it good enough as a standalone game mode to replace a specialty game type? And I would have to go on to agree with Tyler after this game being out for a while. I really don't think it is. In fact, BTB having more players in it, you almost wouldn't know. Like, I don't feel like it's had any grander effect on the matchmaking experience. And I think part of where that comes from is how vehicles are a little more detached from BTB in this game. Think about a BTB Heavies experience in Halo Reach. Even with 8 players, if you had like 2 Falcons in play and a tank and a Warthog, that makes the action seem far more dynamic. But in Halo Infinite's BTB, your team's only going to be running maybe one vehicle at a time, the Warthog, maybe, right? You're not seeing a lot of that big action that it takes more players to facilitate. So I'd have to go on and agree that if I had to choose one of the two as is without me making changes, I do think Warzone is a superior large team experience because it's far more dynamic, it's far more engaging, it's far more unique from this typical arena experience. Again, it's just one of those things. Adding more players does not inherently make it fun. It's what you do with those more players. And Halo Infinite isn't really doing anything with them. So good eye, Tyler. I agree. That's a good topic. Milk says 343 doesn't care about the customs and Forge community because they've shafted them 2 games in a row over the past 6 years. I'm gonna this is a strong disagree. I don't know what past 2 Halo games you've played. Halo 5 Forge is the most powerful Forge to date, unrivaled by any previous iteration, and that's not even, discussing like the customs game browser, which for a console Halo experience was a virgin thing in Halo 5. So to say 343 doesn't care about customs, just customs and Forge at that, which is just weird. Again, Halo 5 Forge is the most expansive and well-iterated version of the tool to date. Now, if we're just kind of moaning and groaning about the lack of Forge at the launch of Infinite here, that does not mean 343 doesn't care. And I have a little bit of bias here, to be fair, because I was brought in on the community team to help build the Forge tool for this game and give feedback and sculpt it out. So I do have a bias in saying 343 does care. I know that firsthand. Because it takes more time does not mean they care any less. In fact, it's taking so much time because they care a lot. So I'm sure people on Reddit would eat that up and call me a shill and go foaming at the mouth, typing their little keyboard warrior statements about me. But you guys just might have to trust me on this one. I don't know what else to tell you. Here we this is just one directed entirely towards me. The Murloc says, I think you're wrong about dual wielding. What they need to do is try to balance the mechanic around the sandbox instead of vice versa like H2 and 3 did. Don't nerf the weapons to temper dual wielding. Make the weapons handle differently while dual wielding is so situational. The tweak goes on and there's a second part to it, right? So basically, if you watch this channel, you know that I am like the anti-advocate of dual wielding, and everyone should understand this. I like dual wielding. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I can, in the same stroke, like it, and then also acknowledge, hey, it kind of messes some stuff up. This guy is mentioning, or this guy, girl, is kind of getting at, oh, well, it's Bungie and 343's fault for letting dual wielding affect weapons negatively. They just shouldn't do that. You know, these guys are professionals. Both these development teams, you're not going to tell them something they already don't know. It's what you're getting at here about having the weapons function differently when dual wielded creates what I consider to be inconsistency in performance, which I would chalk up again as a negative. Why have a weapon function differently between standard use and dual wielding? Because at the end of the day, one of those functions is going to be better than the other. If the SMG is better dual wielded than single fire or single wielded, guess what? The single wield is messed up. That's a negative impact. If the spiker is better single wield than dual wield, then guess what? The dual wield mode is bad. It's not worth using. Players are going to naturally derive those correlations. They're going to naturally find the metas for these weapons. And the fact that you've now torn this weapon between two types of uses, the net result is, well, one isn't getting used, which is just kind of the current problem we have anyway. And you would say, well, Ascend, just make them balanced. I mean, like, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, if it was that simple, we would. When I talked about dual wielding, part of what I mentioned is that, yes, you could balance these weapons in a vacuum, but when you take that and you open the vacuum up and throw it into the full space that is the game, things change. Dual wielding is affected by and had effects on other things. So it wasn't just so much dual wielding as its own isolated design and balance and concept. It had to play along with whatever else the game was doing too. So, you know, I get it. People want it to work. They want to be like, oh yeah, I solved it. It's the grand mystery. But trust me, if this was a problem that was just as easily resolved as balance it, 343 or Bungie would have did that. So I appreciate the effort. And here's the other caveat. Ask this question, well, dude, does it need to be balanced? I think I talked about this in the episode with the Act Man. A lot of things change when you slide your scale for balance, when you decide one thing matters and the other doesn't. So if 343 were to come forth and say, well, I don't care if dual-wielded SMGs are broken, then yeah, we could have them. You know, I don't care if adding the plasma rifle and the sidekick would mean you could kill someone in 0.03 seconds. Like, and I don't mean that, I'm not trying to be like coy or snide or anything. Like, I think about that. We establish these parameters for balance in our games, and those, ironically, are things that create constraint and prevent us from doing certain things. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we didn't care about that stuff. You know, so it's part of a change in the culture of gaming and in the industry and how we create balance as we go on to say, well, the balance has been created, and what was balanced was we took dual wielding out. So yeah, that's the long and short of that one. You still gotta disagree. It's Flory says, too many people like to hyper-focus on negative aspects of Halo Infinite and the soon-to-be TV show instead of giving valid criticism, which in turn can convince some people of a wrong they would have never cared about without them, thus causing more toxicity. I 100% agree. This is like a grander concept that I want to make a video about it. I don't even know where to start. All these things in modern gaming that adult gamers care about Can you imagine yourself caring about some of this shit when you were 12 or 13 or God, even go younger than that? Man, even went up to 14, 15. We do hyper fixate on the tiniest details in gaming nowadays and create issues where there are none. And, you know, I hate to get philosophical on the gaming Twitter opinion show where with alcohol, but it seems like that's something we do a lot as a culture nowadays. Western culture, at the absolute least American culture, we're so obsessed with just absolutely dissecting the microbial levels of media, and am just left to wonder why. We seem to not be content unless we have found ways to dislike things that we otherwise would have liked. So yes, there's this back end comment where people wouldn't dislike something until somebody tells them to dislike it. God, that is so true and so real. And it's like, how do you beat it, man? Because people eat it up. People are like, I don't know what it is. They just want to not like something. That's not to say you can't criticize. And this guy even says, you know, you can have valid criticism. But I mean, you guys use Twitter or anything? Like, there was that guy on Twitter who was like, in the last episode of the Boba Fett show or whatever it is, some guy does like a little spin and then shoots, and the guy was like, this guy should never be allowed to direct again. Like how do you even come to that conclusion? Like, how do you get there to where you see a guy do a little spin thing in an action sequence and you are like, he should never work again? Like, we have fallen far. I think my advice is tap in to your younger self when you did not ask these questions and did not care about these things. When your primary concern was just having some fucking fun, and just go have some fun. You know, don't let anybody else spoil that for you. Don't let me tell you to hate something. Don't let Joe Schmo tell you to hate something. Just, if you like it, and everybody else can fuck off. The Office of Naval Intelligence says the Infinite Sandbox needs more human precision weapons. I disagree based on the use of the word need. This game is far from needing human precision weapons. And this is a bias, I'm of the mindset that we only need to add things to this game where a function or a performance type is missing, right? So I know some people are really into the whole DMR and carbine debacle, and some people are brave enough to throw the light rifle in there. But as far as precision weapons goes in Infinite, I think the bases are covered, as is, right? And some people are like, well, you need a single fire, yada yada, right? I mean, not really. In fact, this game could get away with just having the battle rifle and the sidekick, and I think that about does it. So, now, can it have it? Sure. Can it have more UNSC weapons? Who cares? I don't give a shit. It's fine. It can have it. It can. It doesn't need. So, I think there are other weapon functions that are missing in this game that are more important. For example, Halo Infinite has a really small pool of automatic weapons, and I think there's a lot missing there in terms of a weapon like the SAW or the SMG, where that function is not present at all in the game. I'd be more eager to see that return. So that's just one example of a spot where this is something maybe a little higher up on the we need it idea list. So, and I'm sure after making this, Oni's gonna make me disappear, or turn me, or turn me into a Spartan super soldier orphan who likes to kill people. That does it for this episode of Let's Argue. Let me know your thoughts on these takes in the comments below. Like I said, if you want to contribute to the sticker poster, my Ko-fi is there. Drop $10 or whatever it takes to get your sticker on there, and I'll do it. I will. I'll put you on that. I'll put you on that sticker wall. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.